Window View, as you can probably tell, is the new collection from Hot Off the Press, and we are delighted to be showing you what Teresa has done with all of these wonderful products. So please come play with us. Okay, I'm just going to give you the titles of each of these. So Window View 12 by 12 pattern cardstock with coordinating 12 by 12 solid cardstock, 12 sheets of each. The pattern has 40 cutouts in it. And then there's also the chipboard, and wait till you see what Teresa has done. I learned something new about this. Then we have the 6 by 6 patterned cardstock window view, 24 sheets with 80 cutouts, right? And then of course we have the window view die cuts. Now at the end, I will show you a coordinating die also. And let's get started. And here is our first card, and we'll get in tighter just so that you can really see this one. And this is where I learned something very new. So this is using our 6 by 6 papers, pattern cardstock, of course. And in this case, Teresa took the 5 by 6.5 inch card and simply trimmed off 1.5 inches to make a 5 by 5 card. So that worked nicely. And you can see that this has some glittering of gold on it. So that's really pretty. And let me show you what she has done. So the front of her card, she used this 6 by 6 pattern cardstock. And you can see that she's got this piece at the top and simply trimmed it just a little bit smaller than 5 inches. So 4 7/8 square. Okay, then she took this piece of the paper, and it has these swirls on it. And she trimmed a piece to go right here and then matted it on the gold metallic paper. And this is one of Teresa's favorites. And so that is going to get glued right over on the right side of her card. Now, this also has some chipboard, and so let me show you. Okay, this is the chipboard. There are 14 pieces. So she's using this window. She's also using this pail and this bucket. Now you can turn them whichever way you want because she's going to be covering them. And in this particular case, she left the window absolutely the way it is. She didn't do any coloring. However, for the bucket and the pail, she used the tri-blend markers. Now, Teresa has in her description the 24 piece, and that's great. It is a little costly, but it is a great way to go. And she is using here a gray and a brown. So all she did was simply just color them with the pens, nothing else, just brush them with it, and that works fine. Then here's the trick. And this is new to me too. So she spread out some newspaper or some scrap paper and placed those 3 pieces of chipboard onto that. Then she sprayed some pixie spray. Now this is a adhesive. It's in spray mist form, so it's going to come out in a spattering effect. Then she poured the gold embossing powder on top, made sure it was all everywhere, then tapped off the excess and returned it to the jar, just as you know. And then she took the heat tool and simply did the job to melt that embossing powder. So, but what she has at the end, and Steve, can you go in a little bit closer? Because I want to show how the spattering of gold, just how beautiful that is. You can also feel it's erased a bit. So I think that's just brilliant. And I love it on the white, just the plain chipboard, as well as on those that have been colored. Just really neat. I didn't know you could do that, so I'm happy to learn something new. These were then glued in place. However, to get that little kitty behind the window, well, she took this 6 by 6 and simply trimmed it to fit underneath that window. So we've got the little kitty and then a coordinating greeting, which is peeking in to say hi. So right there, which she matted on gold, that same gold metallic. Now for the inside of her card, she used another sheet of the 6x6, and you can see how pretty this is, kind of ghosted back. And she cut a piece to go halfway across her card, so 2.5 inches. Again, matted just one edge on gold. This is from the die cuts. You'll be seeing that through our presentation here, and this is the arch, and that gets glued down. The missing U is also another of the die cuts right here, overlapping like so. Again, that was matted on the gold, as you can see. And then 2 more pieces where it had the same treatment with the pixie spray and the embossing powder and the heat gun. Really pretty. I am just thrilled. Really nice. Just a charming, charming card. And because you can do this in 6x6 size, or in using the 12x12 papers, you can get the same look in a full-size card. So that's fun to see. Okay, well, with the windows, you're going to see a lot of peeking things, I predict. Now, here we have her second card, and this one also takes great advantage of the chipboard. Now, let me show you. This is using this window, and this has little hearts on each of the shutters, so that's fun. Now, in this particular case, with this chipboard, she colored it again, just with the tri-blend markers. And as we've said, one of the nice things about the tri-blend markers is that you've got light colors and dark colors. So if you can see that she's drawn some lines to kind of look like wood, so just use a medium shade and then a little bit darker shade just to make those lines. Pretty simple. Now, she didn't color in the center area, so want to point that out. Okay, so do the chipboard, set it aside, and then we'll get back to our card. Now, with this card, she also used the 6x6 papers, and let me show you what she used. So this is the one that she used on the front. She used a bit of a sheet on the first card, but here she used pretty much the rest of the sheet right here. But she did mat it on the brown. So here is the brown cardstock, just to make sure that you're seeing everything as she did it. And that got glued to the front of the card. And then she took a strip of what she calls the colored wood, and here is the smaller piece of it, and just trimmed the piece off and matted it on the same brown, and that gets glued there. Now, before you finish, you want to create a window here. And what Teresa did is she measured 1 1/8 inches down and cut a 2-inch square window. And to do that, of course, she's going to use her ruler and the retractable pen. So that's going to do a nice job of doing that. You want to have that onto a self-healing mat, and then you can simply cut that. And you will want to put some pressure on that to be able to cut it through the cardstock, and then the pattern cardstock. Now, if you feel like that's a little bit too much cutting for you, that's okay. We have another answer. You can go into the square and scalloped cutting dies. Now, not the smallest one, but the next one out is a little bit smaller than 2 inches, but it's like 1 7/8. So I think that would work also. So you've got some choices here. Okay, so you want to cut your window. Then you can do your acetate to the back of your chipboard, and then put the chipboard and glue it to the front of your card. That will be good. And the acetate we have by the sheet, so you don't have to buy any more than you need, so that will work nicely. And Teresa did a couple of things to embellish her card front. As I wiggle this, can you see how that is shiny? Not only the acetate, but down here. She used the copper border dazzles, and as you know, this has quite a few dazzles in every single sheet, and she just placed one right there, and that just does a bit of shine. Now, for her embellishment, she took the blush flowers from 49 and Market, and you can see that there are different size flowers, and glued them at the top of here and right down there. Then she went back to the chipboard and colored in the little bird with the blues and the teals and orange feet and an orange beak, and glued that and then foam taped it, really kind of actually let that flower hold it up. This little piece is in the cutouts that are part of the paper collection, and she just did some matting, as you can see. Now these pieces are also part of the chipboard, so you can see how they're just kind of elegantly draped, and there you go. There's 1, 2, 3, and she's used all 3 right here. So that works nice. Now what are we peeking into? Well, let me hold this right here. And here is the paper that she used. There it is right there. She just trimmed that down and matted it onto this cardstock from the collection. And then also took, to make this little focal point, which I think is really clever, it's this part of one of the sheets. So if you really look at the sheets, you can see that you can get lots of different things out of each one, and that's just quite a treat. So there it is. She matted it onto the light green, and then she took one of the cutouts and matted it on the dark green and glued it right there. Again, another copper border right down there, and just really fun. So the peeking and the looking and the playing with those windows, I think just adds quite a bit of creativity to this collection. Now we've got more. Look at this. This is really a gorgeous card. Well, they all are, but this is using the 12 by 12. Okay, this has a surprise inside. Are you ready? Here we go. How fun is that? Okay, I'm going to do it again. Open it up and those just pop up. And I will tell you, this is super easy to do, especially for that wonderful flourish that you get. Okay, so this is our 5 by 6.5 inch card. Teresa has taken that first paper, actually, that is on the package that you saw. Okay, here we go. And she trimmed it down a little bit smaller than the card and just glued it in place. Doesn't that work easily? Then the jute twine was looped right there. So that's got a couple of loops going on. Then a bow was done out of the jute. Very, very useful. These come in 72-inch lengths, every single color in there, so very useful. The peeking in to say hi, that is in the cutouts. As you remember, there are quite a few. So that gets foam taped right there. It's already pre-matted for you, so you don't have to do anything extra. Now, let's go to the inside of our card and that wonderful pop-up. But first, let's talk about what we're going to do right here. So let me show you the side of it. Can you see how you can see the white folded area? Teresa cut 2 pieces of the cardstock. This is that teal color, really pretty. And she cut them to be 5 inches by 6 inches and then glued them so that they were even to the top edge and the bottom edge of the card, but did not meet in the fold. They don't go over that fold. That way the fold stays pliable and nothing buckles. Okay, now to get this piece. Are you just intrigued? I absolutely love it. Isn't that neat? Okay, let me show you how super easy this is. Now she took the sheet that she calls, and I've called it also, the colorful wood case, because it's all of those pieces. And she cut a piece that was 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. Okay, folded it in half. You want to use your bone folder. Unfolded it, folded it the other way in half, did the bone folder, and then opened it. Then she took the bone folder and a ruler and scored a line from one corner to the other corner, just like so. Now, these are going to be mountain folds, so they're going to pooch up, both of them. The others are valley folds. They're going to go down. So when you fold this together, it goes like that. Okay? extra sticky tape along those edges, extra sticky tape on the other edges. Now, we have this piece, and we can put it inside our card. Notice that you're going to turn this square on point, and you're going to allow the middle area to be in the middle of the card, okay? So when you go to place it, you'll position it like so, against the fold but not overlapping it, and it will stay stuck. You just close your card and it will hold it. Then remove the liner on the top part of it, close the card, and it will attach. Then you've got your pieces ready, kind of your mountain folds that can hold something. And what Teresa has done is she has taken some of the die cuts, let me see, right here. So that border piece, you can see that she glued on top of the top point. And then at the bottom, she has the couple of different things. You can see this is a cutout, okay, from that sheet. Let's see, where are you? Here it is with a little kitty. I do like that kitty. I do say that. The happy thoughts comes from our tiny words and phrases. Now this is the primary colors. There are 6 sheets. And by the way, these packages are always a better value than buying them individually. So you've got choices there. Okay, so the happy thoughts is there. The I love you is also off of the papers. Well, this part is, this is a die cut, this is another die cut, and this is a cutout. So those just go, and you'll just want to remember how you put them in. So at the bottom of this one and at the top of that one is how you attach them. That way they're going to fold in. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, let me show you. Does that work? Like that? So it's pretty wonderful to do and pretty simple to do. I'm just absolutely enthralled with this. Okay, I have 2 more cards to show you and be right back. I love what Teresa does. She always gives us just such bang for our buck. This card is no exception, and this, you see how these are overlapped in the front, and then there is a giant size tag that slips out of the inside. Okay, let's focus on making our card to begin with. And we will start with our regular 5 by 6.5 inch cards. We want the fold to be toward us, so that's the fold. And then what Teresa has done, as you can see, is that she has drawn a line from the upper point to the lower right, upper left to lower right. Then that is going to get cut. And don't throw it away, because you're going to need it in about half a minute. So I'll just cut this off just to show you where this is going to go. Now there are some patterns with this, and you'll see those over on the right side of the screen. So this is right here, and what Teresa has done is she has taken this paper from the, am I wrong? Okay, oh, I'm sorry, right here. She has taken this paper, and she wanted to cut it a little bit smaller than the card. So what she has done for us is she has given us a download. So here is the front paper pattern. Here's that great big tag base. And so those are on the right side of the screen. So you can see that just above the instructions. Excuse me, it's not on the right side of the screen. It's down below. When you click on this card, then you will see it, and it's on the right side of the screen then, okay? So she did use this pattern to trim this piece and place it right there. Now, the piece that was left, that piece we trimmed off, this piece is going to go right here, okay? And this is also going to need to have paper on it. And what Teresa used is the light wood paper. And let me find that. well, you've seen it. We've seen it a couple of times. So that's going to use that same download pattern, cover this, and that's going to be, later on, is going to be glued down. That will make our pocket. Now for the inside, let me do this. This piece comes from also, of course, the papers, and that is from this one. And here we go. Yes, okay. So here is this one with the bird right here, and she's used this, just this top part to cover the inside of the card, okay? So that is, again, just going to be slightly smaller. Now, on every single one of those, she just did add a strip of the thin border dazzles, and they will just simply get placed right on it. And I'm searching for it, but I'm not finding it. So look in the instructions, you'll see which one it is. It is the thin lines and borders. So you want to place the dazzles, cover all three of those pieces, the inside of the card and these two, and then you can glue this piece in place. But again, you're just going to glue it along the edge. This can be glued together, and then glue that along the edge. I recommend using the extra sticky tape for that. You can use double-sided tape, whatever you like, but you want to keep this a pocket, okay? So then we have our great big tag that I showed you. Now, Teresa has given us a second download, and that second download is slightly smaller because it represents the papers that will get covered to go onto that tag. So that's a really nice bonus. Thank you, Teresa. Now, this, all of these have, as I said, the thin line dazzles, and so that also has one at the top and two at the bottom, as you can see. This is a one of the die cuts from those sheets I've been showing you. And then this is a cutout from the papers that gets foam taped on top. And Teresa has used the ivory ribbons, and that is going to go nicely into the top of her tag. And then she just tied it with the jute. The jute is also in the same ivory ribbon collection. So the way that this reads, which I really like, is happy birthday, and then when you pull it out, another year of collecting memories. So that's just really, really sweet. Okay, one more card to go, and let's see what this is. This also has some surprises, and there's something I want to share with you that we are doing. So in this case, well, let me just open this up for you first. So you can see there's a window that is for the die cut, and that profusion of flowers and greenery, and it just pops out like that. Look at that. Now this will stand, but it's made differently. So let me share with you. So you will start with a 5 by 6.5 inch piece of cardstock. Now you could take our regular cards and just trim it in half. You would be fine, or you can just cut it out of cardstock. Teresa kept it with white, so that was good. Then this piece is going to get glued on the front of it, and let me show you. We do have a pattern, so that download again is going to be when you click on this card, then you will see the download on the right side. And here's what it looks like. It measures 9.5 by 6.25, and as you can tell, the outside lines, the straight lines, with all of them, those are cut lines. The broken lines are score lines. So what you'll want to do is cut this out of the paper, and the paper I'm going to show you is right here. This one. So this is with the kitty that we used on one of the earlier cards. Well, now you can use the bottom part of that sheet, and this is what is going to get glued onto the front of our card. Now, what Teresa did is to take this, so this is what it's going to look like, and cut it out of that sheet of paper. Okay, so it's at the lower corner. And then just like it says on the printout there, This is a mountain fold, so it's going to go up, then a valley fold next to it, and then this piece is going to be a valley, a mountain, and a valley. So you're going to get this mechanism. Very, very clever. I bet you will agree. Okay, so this piece is going to get glued onto the front of your card base that you've made. And because it's made to fit in the envelopes, it will be just fine. So this is all patterned, so it's all ready to go, except Teresa has done a few more things. Now, we have some window die cuts, or cutting dies. And the scroll window is the one that Teresa elected to use. She had her choice of all of them. And I will tell you that tomorrow, the other 3 are going to be on sale. But today, and in the Money Saver, you are going to get the sale price no matter when you bought this. Now, if you are in our subscription program, you also got that sale price. So I just wanted you to know that we're taking care of you everywhere. Okay, so she did die cut this out of the solid cardstock. And then she put a piece of vellum behind it. Now, vellum that we have, it comes in 6 by 12 sheets, and there's multiple sheets in this. So you can just trim it out to fit. As a matter of fact, if you want to, you can use that outside die to cut the vellum and just glue the window on top of it. And then as you can see, Teresa glued it to the left side of that window opening. And that's how that just pops up. Just really nice. Now, this piece is one of the cutouts from the collection. And then you can see all of these flowers and stems that she has used. The leaves, the ferns, all of that. Now, what Teresa used is our bigger leaves and ferns. And I'm always kind of surprised how well the bigger leaves and ferns plays with the tiny flowers and leaves. Now, I do want to tell you that we are in short supply of the die that is tiny flowers and leaves, but fear not, we've thought about this. The tiny flowers and leaves number 2 is on its way. So if you already have the number 1, you're good to go, and this will work well. And doesn't it work nicely on all those colors of cardstock that are in the collection? So you can see how she used the bigger leaves kind of as a base and then put the tiny flowers on top, layered them. She did use the gold jewel dazzles, which I know are really kind of blinding there, but individually they do a really, really nice job. And then on the inside, again, the bigger leaves and the tiny flowers on top. Same thing is going on right here. So she's just curving these as they go around the piece. The Make-A-Wish and the Happy Birthday are from our Tiny Words and Phrases Pastels and Pearls. And so there are, let me see, there are 10 sheets, 10 finishes, and you can see the silver is there and the pink in Happy Birthday is there. So really, really nice. Now, I did mention that we have more of the dies, so I just wanted to take a second and just show you what they are. The lacy window, the arch window, and then the butterfly window. So those could also be used with the window view. Teresa, of course, chose the scroll window, which does just a beautiful job, and they're all sized to fit. So that's what we have today. I should almost start these off with saying, sit down, pour a cup of something, and get ready to be entertained, as Teresa does such a wonderful job for us. Just to recap, this is window view. You got that, I'm sure. The 12 by 12 patterned cardstock. We're going to have to back up, I'm sure, Steve. The solid cardstock, the die cuts, the chipboard, the 6 by 6, and now that you know, the scroll window is a beautiful match and perfect for this collection. So if you are watching this on YouTube, I want to thank you for joining us. If you'd like to like us and subscribe, we would appreciate that. You can look down below for a link to paperwishes.com at paperwishes.com. You can see the webisode. You can click on the money saver and take advantage of that money saver. And you can also see the instructions for every single one of the 5 cards that Teresa has shared with us today. I want to thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, and most importantly, for being part of the Paper Wishes family. Bye-bye. Well, as you know, this is the entire window view collection, all of the cardstock and papers. And I mentioned the subscription, but I thought I'd give you a visual. So if you were interested in getting everything, now this would be every month, because every month we do a new collection, you can belong to the I Want It All subscription. You're going to get everything that we've shown you, but you're going to get it at a 20% off. So that's a great deal. And you will receive this at least well, at least a week or about before we do the webisode. So you'll have everything that you can kind of go along with Teresa and myself. So that is one option. Now we have another. You remember the cutting die that matched? Well, if you really want it all, you can belong to that subscription. Same idea, you're going to get 20% off, but it's going to also include the cutting die that we have that matches the collection. Same thing, you're going to receive this before the webisode. And by the way, if you remember, on all of the packaging, for all of the papers, there are ideas on the back of the packaging, and so you'll have those right with you, and you can walk along while we do the webisode. So I just wanted to make sure you can do I want it all, or I really want it all. In either case, you're going to have some super savings, and you will be able to make wonderful things. Just click on the right side, and you'll see where they are.